Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we're going to go ahead and cover my holiday gift guide buying 4 fragrances for the year 2014. Now, this is a video that has been requested by a great many people, and I figured why not, I'll go ahead and do it. Truthfully, I actually don't like doing this type of video simply because I find choosing and buying fragrances a highly personal matter. So for example, I don't have any trouble choosing fragrances for the people that I know, just because I feel that fragrances really should match the person, whether they be the person's lifestyle, whether it be what the person actually does, as you know, as far as hobbies go, as what the person's personality is like. You know, if the person is a joyful type of a person, if the person is just one that lights up the room, as opposed to a person who is a little bit, you know, more on the quiet side, a person who is a little bit more reserved and likes to, you know, kind of set the mood in a quiet way. There are many different, you know, factors when choosing fragrances for people. I have no trouble doing it for my own, but I have a little bit of a trouble when I just blanketly, you know, recommend this. Obviously, it's one of the things that I do, but I wanted to approach it in a different way. So this is actually a video that I shot twice now and reshot it just because the classifications that I had for the fragrances was a little bit off in my opinion, and I came up with the following method to actually do it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and name some fragrances, first starting off that I would say that are in your medium range of fragrances. I'm going to go ahead and, you know, list the prices for them, as well as where you can get these fragrances from, or some places that you can get these fragrances from. I'm also going to, for people who don't have as much money or don't want to spend as much money, I'm going to list some cheap fragrances out there, some fragrances that are, you know, more on the budget line. They're excellent fragrances, they just happen to be on the lower end of the spectrum for price-wise. And then I'm also going to list some higher rated, or not rated, sorry, but higher priced fragrances that people can go ahead and take a look at, so you can, you know, possibly look at those if you want to actually get them as a gift. All right, so with that, keep in mind one last thing. These are all just suggestions as far as, you know, the age range, the fragrances themselves. They're all just suggestions. So if you have other suggestions that you might suggest to people, feel free, leave them down in the notes. This buying guide is for everyone to kind of use as a gauge to go ahead and purchase some fragrances out during the holiday season for your loved ones. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and get started right into the actual fragrances. The first fragrance that I have is a relatively new release from the house of Kors, and of Michael Kors, and the fragrance is Michael Kors for Men. Now this fragrance is one that I don't actually have, but I'm looking forward to getting pretty soon. I have smelled a sample of it, and one of the great things about this fragrance is it's got a very nice manly tobacco type of a vibe. It's got a very nice patchouli vibe that kind of comes in it as well too. It's reasonably priced. You're going to get it for around $78 for a 4 ounce of the fragrance, which is, so you're going to get a good amount of juice for $78. So it's one of the more, I guess you could say, affordable fragrances from the mid-range, if you will. This fragrance is perfect for a person or an older gentleman. It's perfect for a middle-aged gentleman who, for example, wants to use something maybe to go out a little bit, or use something as a signature scent that he's going to go ahead and wear to work. It's not going to be too old. It's not going to be overbearing at all, as long as he, you know, kind of controls the trigger. So it's a perfectly acceptable fragrance for that type of a guy or that type of a man. It's not really an active fragrance, and I wouldn't really classify it as that, but it's got class associated all over it. It's something that you definitely want to take a look at. The next fragrance that we have on our list is a fragrance that actually I recently reviewed, and even though the fragrance has been out since like 2009, it has, you know, gained a lot of recent accolade because of another reviewer as well, and more people, I guess, kind of picked it up. The fragrance is none other than CH Men. Now, CH Men is from the house of Carolina Herrera. Your best bet to get this one is probably going to be online. You can find it discounted pretty heavily from a lot of retail stores. So FragranceNet is one, Fragrance X is another. You can also purchase it, I believe, from the Carolina Herrera store, but you're going to purchase that for retail price. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning the discount stores for this particular fragrance is I haven't necessarily come across or heard of that many fakes for this one. There may definitely be fakes going for this one, but so far it seems reasonably safe to purchase it from these sites so that you don't, actually pick up a fake, or you're not left with too old juice for that matter. So, that in mind, you're perfectly safe, at least in my opinion, going out and getting it from those places. Now, CH Men is a scent that any pretty much age group can wear. If you're looking for, I really think it's more suited to a person who has like an active type of a personality, who is fun, who is outgoing, a person who really likes to get out there and intermix with people, some people that he doesn't know. This is the type of person that you're going to get this fragrance from. It exudes a bit of playfulness, but at the same time, it has like a serious note to it. It has some serious notes to it that give it, while a playful vibe, a serious type of a playful vibe. So it's not a fragrance that I personally would wear to work, but it is a fragrance that I would wear in casual situations, in situations where you're, just going out to a bar, or, in general, just having fun with it. So CH Men is another fragrance. Now, CH Men is going to run you, let me go ahead and pull up that price. It's about $72 for a 3.4 is the actual retail price. But again, you can find it much discounted. The next fragrance that I go ahead and have on my list is actually a couple fragrances. They're all from the house of Thierry Mugler. The fragrances that I'm going to go ahead and mention are Angel Men, Pure Havane, and Pure Malt. Now, these three fragrances from the Mugler line are notable in many different ways. They have a very nice, fun, playful vibe to it. People in general love the smell of these scents, so they're going to get you compliments. They're fragrances that are going to really stand out from your average, I guess you could say, cologne-y smelling type of a scent. And the reason for it is they do nice mixing with patchouli, with chocolate, with whiskey type of a notes. They're a wide range basically of different types of scents, and those three really are the three that I would highly suggest people actually look at. Now, the retail price for them is around $90 that you're going to pay for them, and your best bet for purchasing these fragrances is directly off of the Mugler site. You can find it if you search around. I haven't really had much success from discount sites, but I really wouldn't get it. I would just go through and go ahead and purchase it from the actual site. So the Mugler scents, again, you can use these fragrances for dates, you can use them for clubbing, you can use them for nights out. They're extremely versatile in their application. And the only type of situation that I probably wouldn't use it for are, I guess you could say, sporting events or anything like that. They may become a little bit too heavy for it, and they are a little bit more suited for the winter months. So that's another thing to actually keep in mind for these. But either way, your best bet is to actually look around, see if you can purchase some samples from them, which I have had some success, especially when purchasing some other products, of getting some samples and going through there. Given that there's not much time though, it really is still a pretty good bet that they will end up liking this scent, or those scents, all right? Now for the next fragrance, is a popular one from the house of Chanel. It is Bleu de Chanel. This is a scent that I have been screaming to the high heavens for people to buy, just because it is highly versatile and it is an excellent all-around scent. Now, Bleu de Chanel, when I first smelled it, I really thought of a generic scent, but it wasn't a generic in a bad way. A lot of people associate the smell generic, the word generic, as having, not something that you want to actually get, maybe because of the generic foods or whatever the case may be. In this case, generic is good. It does the typical scent, typical fragrance scent, just so excellent. This is a scent that you really want to get for somebody who is, say for example, a young urban professional who is looking, to upgrade their fragrance wardrobe, or looking to get into fragrances, period. This will attract a lot of compliments from a lot of people around you, from around that person. It fits all types of people, whether it be the quiet person, whether it be the person who is a little bit more active, person who is a little bit more shy, you name it, it really fits the person, and it is highly versatile in so many different aspects, from the time of, when is the best time to apply it, which is, whether it be spring, summer, winter, whatever the month may be, you're actually safe wearing this actual scent. Now, it's going to set you back around $87 for the 3.4, which is still a decent amount of deals. A little bit more on the expensive side, but it's totally worth the actual price that you're actually going to pay for it. So take a look at Bleu de Chanel. It's an excellent scent. You might also want to look at the gift set for it, just because I do like buying gift sets for people if I know they're going to like the scent, and I give them kind of like the whole package for it. Plus you'll pay a little bit less for it, but either way, take a look at that scent. Now, next on the list is called Dolce & Gabbana The One. This scent is, woo, I have had this scent on my list for a while now, just because it's one of the most complimented scent that I get from other men. So this is a scent that I actually put in the realm of, hey, take a look at this scent. I do get compliment from women, so don't confuse the issue and say, oh, just because men are complimenting it, I don't want to get it. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is, if you get the scent, you're going to get compliments from a wide range. It's a pleasant smelling scent. It's not too heavy. One of the knocks on it, though, is that it doesn't last, and it sometimes doesn't last. But that's not necessarily a bad thing as far as the projection goes. I'm sorry, when I said doesn't last, I mean projection. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a little bit more close to the skin, but it works for a guy who doesn't want to go out and scream and shout. So take a look at that scent. All right. Now, moving on to some cheap scents. These are some scents that you want to go ahead and look at if you don't have a lot of money to go ahead and spend on fragrances, right? So the first scent that I have up for that is called Michael Jordan Legend. Now, Michael Jordan Legend is a scent that smells like a couple other scents that are out there. New Harlem is probably the most notable, and New Harlem is an expensive Bond No. 9 scent. But you don't have to pay that much to get the scent that you're looking for out of this. Now, New Harlem is a very dark, heavy, syrupy scent. This is a good scent that you want to wear if you want to give it to somebody who appreciates loud scents. They like sweet scents. They like fragrance that screams and shouts to everyone else around you. It's very much an attention grabber. So if you're shopping for somebody who has that kind of a trait, take a look at this scent. All right, it may be the scent that you're actually looking for. Now, it's going to actually run you, I've seen it as low as $15 from sites like FragranceNet, Fragrance X. It's a fragrance that you can get pretty cheap. So go ahead, take a look at that scent. Next is called Nautica Voyage. Now, Nautica Voyage is a scent that I have constantly put out there that don't be fooled by the low price. You're getting good quality when you get this scent. And it still puzzles me why there's so many that are on the market. They must have did some mass production of it, but it's an excellent scent. Now, Nautica Voyage, aside from being an excellent scent, is a cheap one. It's going to run you about $15 if you take a look around it. It's not hard to find. Despite being $50, it's got a very nice aquatic type of a scent. This is probably the closest scent that you're going to get to a scent that is your prototypical cologne or fragrance that you're used to smelling when you say, oh, that smells like a men's scent. Doesn't necessarily smell bad or smell good, but Nautica Voyage does it really well. It does it well to the point where I've often said $15, they are undercharging for this scent. It's highway robbery. You need to go ahead and purchase this one, especially if you don't have it. For a relative, for a friend, you really can't go wrong, right? And the last one that I have for cheap scents is a scent that is more, you can use for clubbing. It has more of an animalistic, not an animalistic type vibe, but it's called Animale Animale, right? Now, Animale Animale, you can find this one for roughly around $25. Now, this has it has a whiskey type of a scent. It's often called, and a lot of people say that it does smell like pure malt. It smells pretty close to pure malt, but it's not the actual same scent. With that said, I think I left the window there open. don't mind that. But with that said, it's a safe bet to go ahead and purchase this one for somebody who is looking for a scent that is maybe a clubbing scent. The person might not necessarily want to scream and shout too loud because this isn't that heavy of a scent. It still has some heavy aspects, but it's not that heavy of a scent. So you're perfectly fine going after it. All right. Now, moving on, if your budget is such that you can purchase an expensive fragrance and you want to purchase an expensive fragrance as a gift, there are two main houses that I would go ahead and take a look at. And I don't want to dive into it too much just because this video would become way too long for it. And there are just so many suggestions out there from the more expensive market. But two houses I would take a look at. And you generally can't really go wrong with both of them. And the houses are the House of Creed and the House of Tom Ford. The Creed fragrances for the 4.0 are going to set you back about $350, while the Tom Fords for a 50 milliliter is going to set you back about $210, right? Now, the Creed fragrances, the three that you probably want to look at are Millésime Imperial, you want to look at Green Irish Tweed, and you want to look at Creed's Aventus. Those three are really the three quote-unquote rock stars that I would say that you almost really can't go wrong. Millésime Imperial, it's got this salty seawater type of a vibe to it, almost like a little bit of a watermelon type of a vibe. It smells really, really good, and it's lighter on the skin. Same thing with Green Irish Tweed. Green Irish Tweed reminds people of the rolling hills of, the Irish hillside, sorry. It kind of has a scent by, and it's great for even an older gentleman might appreciate this one that's a little bit more reserved would appreciate that one. And Aventus really is a fragrance a little bit more for a person who's a little bit more, I guess you'd say, outgoing. Aventus is one that a lot of people around you will smell, a lot of people around you will compliment around you as well. So those three from the House of Creed, I would say take a look at. While on the other hand, from the House of Tom Ford, I would say look at Oud Wood, Tobacco Vanille, and Neroli Portofino. Oud Wood is a little bit more subtle. It's a woody fragrance. It's a heavy woody fragrance that'll do well in most months, but it's a little bit more on the subdued side. Whereas Tobacco Vanille is a heavy scent through and through. It's tobacco and vanilla. It's raw. It's for somebody who is a little bit more confident and outgoing in their presentation. Whereas Neroli Portofino, it's your fresh scent. It's got neroli for it. It's clean, fresh, and something that you can actually take a look at for it. All right. Again, please let me know what your thoughts are, or some other people who are in the fragrance community. Help people out here. Let you know what your thoughts are for some holiday gift fragrances and what you might consider holiday gift guides are. Feel free to ask me any questions. I'm going to try and do my best to answer any holiday gift buying guides throughout the month of December, just to help people out with their fragrance purchases. All right. I mean, I always do, but this month I'm really going to try to emphasize being timely in answering people. All right. So thank you. Have a great day and take care of yourselves. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas.